Hello there and welcome. I hope you are well. I'm Kate and I'm back, and this one is all about the nest because indeed I'm in my nest. It's my happy place and I have nest upon nest to show you this afternoon. Now, our August KiN prompt has been about being bowerbirds, and I thought I'd show you the joy of being a bowerbird. I've got here a pile of 4 of my nests, and some you've seen before and one probably not. So it's sort of like last time I showed you how to start a new one, and this was the one that I was working on at the beginning of August. So it's fantastic size for goodies to go in. So this is just to spark your curiosity and go, what on earth does that all mean? So that's baby nest. The last one I showed you was when I tried the technique of using the quilt, this lovely piece of quilting as the center of this nest before I added around the side of it. And you can see I still have bits to go. In fact, that's a needle in there that I don't want to be. Oh, and there's another needle. So just remind me later if I lose my needle that there's one here. So they are just so fun to make, and all along I've been talking about the embellishing stage. In fact, just before I move on, some of you have said that you haven't got access to quilting, and I totally understand that. These are rare things indeed, but I have seen people lately making their own pieces of quilting. And if you don't have quilting, it can be fabric. Just the idea is to be free and joyful. Use colour or don't use colour. You've seen my natural and neutral nests as well. If you're a liberty person, use your liberty. But as I said, there's no right or wrong. It's just for the fun, and they stack so well. I've unstacked all of mine. Okay, I wanted to show you this one, which I made last year, to illustrate that you can have such variation in your sizing, and they all work. So look at this one. I use that as the diameter and then sat it all up, whereas this one here I have a very small base and then larger sizes. This is doubled over blanket on the bottom. I've shown you this often. I love that, just for something different, that could sit in there and be the base, and that would be inspiring in itself. So do not worry if your sizing takes a while to work out. And in fact, I think that's the freedom and the joy of this process. Now, I can see that even last year I was a bowerbird. Oh, and speaking of that, this isn't a bowerbird, but it's a little birdie. And you will know that you love particular things. And just play around fringes. Okay, that brings me to the one that I am working on now. It's clearly the biggest, and I want to just spend some time on this one because it's hard to show it, but it's my biggest base and it's gone wonky. And I have had some people go, we can't get it exactly right. I'm in the process of fixing this, and I will do that by, well, no one's going to look at the bottom, but working from the inside and strengthening the walls so they stand out, and that little pucker will go flat. I'll also put something over the bottom of that. But for the moment, let's talk about, I don't know which way to take you. I'll just go up a little bit. I want to talk about the embellishing or the adorning. This is an opportunity to get out all little things that you might have experimented with and have never made it to a larger work. I have another one of these. I haven't made them for a long time, and now I'm inspired to do it again. But I have a clover flower loom, and these little flowers are so textural and so much fun that they belong on this. So this one was an experiment. I've left it all out, cut it, and that just brings me joy. Underneath it, and I think this is what I'm trying to say, you don't have to have the highest quality vintage textiles. Use your scraps and your bits. Here is a cross stitch. This wasn't a particularly nice piece, but I found it and I liked the pink. So I've left the frill on. Here's some little bits that I've been working on recently. I cut up a couple of my letters. So you may not see the K again for a while because I chopped it up to use it in other spaces. Little bits all over without the worry of, does this look perfectly right? And using the flower to flower approach, it sort of works, and we'll talk more about that. If I get bored when I'm making, and obviously here I was trying out how to stitch a green leaf, and you might say, well, why did you bother? But I learned something by that, and it was just fun. And I look at that and go, that's not bad, Kate. This was an inexpensive, sometimes I feel like pruning, ribbon embroidery, I think, from a thrift store, as was this, a different piece. I usually wouldn't, spend a lot of time with those, but they need to be used. So there they are. I am doing lots of crochet again, and this is one of my crochet roses. I feel now that I could add something into the center of that. Oh no, that's my dangly. But a big button in there would go really well. Last night, I spent some time, hang on, let's get rid of these. Oops. On this section here. This was a part of a tea towel, and the more I stitched, I tried to gather it up. So that little edging of the tea towel has now become an interesting ridge that I like texturally, and it's like now there's a little white skirt and a bigger, broader freedom up here. I don't know what that is there either. So we'll just do this. And I was really thinking of a bowerbird. I thought, it's the sum of the parts that that makes it whole. Here's a recent snippet that, again, I've taken off a larger piece and put there. So in another year, I can go, oh, okay, Kate, that's where you were up to. On the inside, it's quite a higgledy-piggledy mess, and I am working towards, as I just said, that these will stand up. This will be my biggest standy-uppy nest of all time. So I thought, why don't we just spend some time with a little bit of a play. I thought that when I find the right fabric to go on there, I do have some leftover of the original quilting, but I think it is too lovely to use. This is off another piece when I was into fringes. In fact, I'll stay on one nest just so that you don't get confused. So what I would do is I'd go around and say, is there anything plainish that could do with extra? And probably on this one, it would only be an area over here, which I want to build up anyway. So this is where the buckle is. So let's just go in here and say, let's embellish with this scrap over that. It will add texture and bulk. It's probably a little bit too long, so I'll just chop that bit there, chop that little bit, and I'm sure I had something threaded. Yes. Oh, no. Maybe. That's not the one. Got that. And I've got some fringes here. So what are you up to working on? You've got big projects or little ones? I'll have to thread again because that doesn't make any sense. Not to worry. As I said, I've got crocheting and all sorts of things. I've got my pin cushion. See, that's got a little flower on it too. Just use a needle, Kate. That's sharp, yep. And some wool. I've also been working on my newsletter today. Can you believe edition 2 is coming out tomorrow? That's Monday for me here in Australia. And I've had a lovely response, so it's not too late. It's not, it's just a little bit of storytelling about the nest and some inspirations and some influences and some, just little bits and pieces. So if you would like to join that list, I'll put the link below. And the beauty of being a bowerbird as we stitch is I just go, my eyes, because you don't have to concentrate much on the stitching in this style. Just think of the twigs and the gems and the bits of plastic straw that the magpie would be putting together. You can feast your eyes on the other bits that have been collected. And I have had responses. Yes, I don't think you get bowerbirds in the US. One of our local residents, I think it was just yesterday, on Facebook or Instagram, posted a photo of a local bowerbird who had decorated his nest, because it's the males that build them, with all blue stones. So we could see it with our own eyes that it actually happens. The other thing, if you are a person who likes cantha, the greatest thing about making nests and vessels is that your stitching adds the bulk. Now I'm deliberately and on purpose, which is the same thing. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. I'm going deep because there's a lot of layers of blanket under here, and that will actually help my sides stand up and even out the pucker. So even huge stitches like this that would be tacking in another world and taken out can become both a functional and very decorative piece. This was an old pillowcase from a thrift store. So you wouldn't want to be doing it through these layers all the time, but for a short time. Lost the end on there we are. And because I was going to audition that little flower up there, but she's been buried. And of course, as I often say, you may be a person that likes it highly organized and ordered. It works just as well. So do not be put off making these vessels by my randomness. This is just my particular way of having lots of fun on a Sunday afternoon with my friends. And we'll just come up here, and the more you join things together and pull them tight, it adds to the structure, which is what I suppose happens with a nest. Now, the other thing I realise while I'm up here is that sometimes you might realise, like there, I think there's probably a little bit too much. I better just check that you can see me. Yeah. Probably a little bit too much of this beautiful green vintage. So let's just take that morsel and leave that for another time. And I think similarly here. And then we can immediately put that on another piece. I'm going to leave that down there so you don't see the bubbles, but also I've shared before, you can shape these and deliberately have them down, turn them inside out, etc. Okay, so that's big nest. Let's go back to, where's my quilted one? This one, because we began this together, and let's think about things we could do. Now, personally, I love the idea of that little morsel over the sunshine. So I would like to think that that's going to live there, but not straight away. We need to add a few little fringy things. So let me just pin that there. So we had the jewels, we had this dangle, we had the heart buttons, we had these pearls. This is still a bit plain. Yep. And it is time. Oh, goodness. I'm always comforted when people tell me that this happens to them, because obviously there's probably not another YouTuber out there that is like this. I'm always impressed with the organisation and neatness of others. Okay, So which is the right side? That side or that's, oh, this side. Okay, so let's go on from these pearls. And yes, we're over the top of that yellow, but it will still shine through. 1, 2, or maybe we just do 3. Let's do that. Make your resources stretch. Yep. Oh, look at that lovely little bit. And that way we can still see that. This is the bit that I threaded before and knotted. Okay, we're underway for 1. Now here, the braid itself can help us. As I say, let the resource help you with your stitching. So I'm just going between these big loops. And it's securing it. And right here, it doesn't matter to me whether it's visible or not. And yes, it is crooked, but that's all right. We'll come down there if I had more pins. Oh, that's a sideshow. Okay. This one's going to get caught too. Oh, come on. There we are. I'm just looking around now because I have this space here. So let's use it for some mark making. This nice bright colour. Let's make some little crosses. And get them to be functional. As well as decorative. I'm inventing a new way of doing a cross, not a new way, but it's not the way I wanted to be doing it, but anyway. So this one, let's get right. Go up to the top, down, pick up that, through there, and up. And then this one can be the biggest, right through. Can we get through? Barely. And through there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Take the thread through. And where have we come up? Here. So, yep, we hadn't stitched that down. And I'm thinking about this little piece here, which I made when as an itty bitty. And I can see that I don't need to use all of that. So let's just go up here. Yeah, I'll just use this little bit without the beading. to tuck it up under there. Yes. So the simple thing is I've still got thread. So let's just go on a little journey. We'll go running stitch up. And across. I may run out of thread, but we can start. There we are. So little beaded flower and that baby flower poking from under there. Okay, so we'll just start securing this. Go. So we've got flower, 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 flower pattern. Oops, bit of a fight going on here. So let's just bury this. Oh, I was going to say that's a letter, but look what it's become now. I sort of like that. That could go on my big nest. Okay, the other thing I wanted to do was to add some beads. It's very Bowerbird like. Oh, I mean, here it is. I was going to say, this is what happens to me. I threaded up this tiny milliner's needle so you wouldn't have to watch me battle with threading it. And if I had lost that, it would have been disappointing. So I hope you're having a lovely weekend or have had one. I've had a mixture of, getting lots of things done and then catching up with friends. Had the most amazing lunch yesterday. A true blessing of, where am I going to put my beads? Do I want them on the outside so I can feel them, or on the inside? Look, I'm gathering that there. I think we'll go on the inside. We might go up here on this black bit. Warning, warning. Do it your way. I just go fishing now. Oh, I don't need two on. And that one's, not going to go on. Just want to do a little random pop of colour. But you can see why I don't bead with you very often. I absolutely adore it, but it takes time with me. One, two, three. I could go back and secure them, but in the context of this piece, yep. I'm catching needles as well. Oh, so those little pink ones won't go. These were ones that spilled. And I didn't put them away because I think the colour is so pretty. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's do about 9 of these together, and then we will lost count already. You can count for me. Just heard noises. My husband has been for a swim again. He's amazing. He started a swimming program in January and is still sticking to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and one last one. 9. So we've just done a little interplay of this pink, joining this over this black, and then I want to come down here, a little invisible stitch here actually. And see if I could put this shell on. And I can. So look at that, a little cowrie shell. Which way do we want it? It's like that now, so it can stay. Now, have we got any other dangles? That one. Well, I've got a thin needle on. Of course we have. Why don't we put this little girl up here? So beads, shell, and little girl. Secure that a few times. Double thread means more places to get stuck. Finish her off. Now remember, we've also got lots of little, I've got one here. No, I think that would be a waist there. Let's go back to our big one. And let's put the little one in it. Oh, sorry, creaky chair. I was actually looking for that little bit of beaded. Oh, here. because again that's on blanket, and we'll add texture and contrast and something nice to feel. So how about we do that there? Still seeing all those beautiful embroideries there, and we'll just whip it for the moment. Oh, you know, now that that's come undone, I want will be more obvious. Red, yes. Oh. You know, sometimes I can thread and sometimes I can't. This is perlé, but I want to use a double thickness. So making a nice long one. Oh, what am I doing? Getting mixed up between crocheting and stitching. Okay, let's go around the needle. Okay, now we're on a roll. Big loop there, but we'll worry about that later. What did I do? Something stuck. Oh, I went through a bead. Okay. A little bit of a snag there. Now we're on a roll. So there's the top of it joined. And now, because this section is very light in here, let's make a statement with this red thread over and over. And this is where I would maybe take one, two, three. Yep, just a little bit of edging and start to join it on. So in fact I'll do a few more stitches there. Make a statement. Yep, and now I'll start the joining. Sometimes they make crosses. Sometimes it works. Yes, that did. So we're building layer upon layer. I was just thinking about my cuff then, and yes, it's turned around. I couldn't find my bangle, so I just put my cuff on here. Oh, glad I found that. I nearly so this is raw blanket that may or may not get something over the top of it eventually. There we are. So we have this ridged edge there. Let's put our stack of nests back together. So big nest that I'm still working on the bottom with all of that around the side, and dingle dangles. And where do we put our beads? Here. So that's been new. Then this one that we didn't work on today, but has many common materials. Then our quilted one, in fact, shall we leave that there? And this little one, I still have a soft spot for that. Okay, let's tuck nest into nest into nest. I hope you found something there to inspire and yeah, bring a smile. Happy making whatever you're doing. Until next time, this is KiN Nest. Bye.